yesterday's attacks and other things.
Some say that he does have ties to Muslim extremists. I don't know.
CIA, after a long and distinguished...
What's the worst nightmare for an intelligence agency? The moment its spies start to disappear. The agents and sources so carefully recruited and nurtured, often over many years, one after the other. This is apparently the case with the CIA, as a cable from the agency's counterintelligence said America's Central Intelligence Agency has lost too many of the people it recruited from other countries to spy for the United States in recent years. This news raises some very important questions like, has the CIA lost its touch? Is the agency doing enough to protect the informants it recruits in foreign countries? And are the CIA's rivals getting ahead of American spies?
دستگیر شده بود به نام آقای امیر رحیمپور که
Mr. Amir Rahimpour, who was arrested for spying for the CIA, had established links with a spy service, received large salaries, and tried to provide information about the nuclear power of the Islamic Republic of Iran for the American service. He was uncovered, tried, and sentenced to death, and the country's Supreme Court recently confirmed the verdict of this American spy.
شناسایی قرار گرفت، محاکمه شد، به اعدام محکوم شد.
The cable's report matches the news coming out every now and then about CIA sources who were arrested or executed. In fact, it's not a new issue. The agency has lost so many spies in Iran. For example, in 2019, Iranian officials said they had arrested 17 people who were working for the CIA in Iran. In another example, the agency had to curb its spying in Lebanon in 2011 after the arrest of several informants in Beirut. China also once in one operation captured some 20 CIA spies. The story was widely publicized in 2018.
我们注意到有关的动向，中方在有关问题上的立场呢是非常的明确的，也是一贯的。那么安理会的有关决议对于朝鲜利用弹道导弹技术进行发射活动有明确的规定，中方反对朝方违反安理会的决议进行有关的发射活动。
And there's another issue. It's not just about hunting down agents and capturing them. Many adversarial intelligence services in countries such as Russia, China, Iran, and Pakistan have been turning the CIA sources into double agents.
Just a moment ago, on the 9th floor of the federal courthouse next door, a former CIA case officer, one of those individuals entrusted with protecting our nation and its secrets, was just sentenced to 19 years in prison. Jerry Chun Sing Lee joins Ames, Regan, Pitts, and Mallory on the wall of infamous traitors prosecuted here in the Eastern District of Virginia. For arguably $840,000, Lee sold out the United States. He abused the trust that his superiors, the U.S. government, and frankly, the people of the United States placed in him.
Sometimes it's not even an intelligence agency, but a terrorist group with limited resources that do this. The 2009 bombing at a CIA base in Afghanistan's Khost is a good example. A Jordanian doctor the CIA thought it had convinced against al-Qaeda had in fact turned against the United States. The man blew himself up and 7 CIA agents were killed. The same CIA that was responsible for numerous coups and chaotic political shifts in the world now seems that the agency's skills in training informants or thwarting rivals have become old and rusty. At the same time, CIA rivals have become more powerful and focused. It's not that the agency is not focused on training its spies, but many former officials believe the focus of the CIA is now on what it calls terrorist threats at countries that the US has invaded in the past 2 decades, like Afghanistan, Iraq, and Syria. They also say that the agency tends to underestimate foreign intelligence agencies and moves too quickly to recruit spies without considering counterintelligence risks.
I guess what I would say at the start is that, I think we have to be clear-eyed about the reality, looking at the potential terrorism challenge, that both al-Qaeda and ISIS in Afghanistan remain intent on recovering the ability to attack U.S. targets, whether it's in the region, in the West, or ultimately in the homeland. After years of sustained counterterrorism pressure, the reality is that neither of them have that capacity today, and that there are terrorist groups, whether it's al-Qaeda on the Arabian Peninsula or in other parts of the world, who represent much more serious threats today.
Another problem of the CIA is the technology revolution. There was a time when the United States was among a few countries that possessed high-tech gadgets and systems that aided its agents on their spy missions. Now, every country is developing its own spyware, gadgets, and data-gathering tools. The CIA's traditional human intelligence model can't survive the digital age. And it's not just about the CIA. No intelligence agency can survive on its old methods.
If confirmed, 4 crucial and interrelated priorities will shape my approach to leading CIA: China, technology, people, and partnerships. As President Biden has underscored, outcompeting China will be key to our national security in the decades ahead. That will require a long-term, clear-eyed, bipartisan strategy.
Nearly everyone agrees that social media, cell phones, facial recognition technology, and supercomputers that crunch big data have dramatically complicated the business of espionage. The technology revolution has made it all but impossible to maintain false identities and disguise relationships. In other words, the CIA's decades-old spying model has been overtaken by technology. There are many intelligence officials that strongly believe that with careful planning and professional operation, covert intelligence gathering by agents and others can still work. But history has shown time and again that even the most carefully planned operations can be uncovered with the help of technology. In 2010, a high-ranking member of the Hamas resistance movement, Mahmoud al-Mabhouh, was found dead in his hotel room in Dubai. It took Dubai police less than a month to find those behind the killing and expose them. It was a plot by Israeli intelligence to assassinate Mabhouh. Dubai police uncovered the plot by assembling CCTV videos of the Mossad agents. The Israeli team used a method called solid tradecraft, and technology exposed them. The most recent example is the assassination of Jamal Khashoggi, the Saudi journalist who was brutally killed and dismembered in Istanbul. The story of his assassination by rough agents hired by the Saudi crown prince filled the internet in less than a week after his disappearance. CCTV footage, facial recognition tools, and phone records revealed everything. So the technology revolution is not only the problem of the CIA, but every other intelligence agency in the world. But how is it that it cost the CIA so many spies? Is the US intelligence agency incapable of protecting its agents? If so, is there a guarantee that it can recruit spies in the future? Nobody wants to gamble their lives by becoming an informant at risk of exposure, so the agency might experience difficulties in convincing people to commit treason and work for them in their own countries. Of course, the CIA has never relied on any spies for collecting information. It has many ways to gather data for its analysts to craft into briefings for policymakers, but the networks of humanists around the world are very much the centerpiece of CIA's efforts. The kind of intelligence that the agency is supposed to be the best in the world at collecting and analyzing. Former officials of the agency say recruiting new informants is how the CIA officers earn promotions, and judging by the recent Cable report, it's safe to say the CIA officers are not doing the very best they can. Or maybe they do, they're just not good enough, or maybe the rivals are just better than them.